Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to the UND Sports Zone. Look at UND Sports for the weekend, what's coming up. It was an exciting weekend for UND. Hockey, football, we got basketball on the horizon. Brad, of course, Friday night, what an electric game with Boston University and UND. It's one of those matchups a lot of people wait for during the year, and this certainly didn't disappoint, did it?
Yeah, we don't get to see some of these Eastern teams very often, and this was their first time in Grand Forks since 1996. So it's crazy to think that Coach Jack Parker's been around 40 years and he's never coached at Ralph Engelstad Arena until Friday night. But it was a great game on Friday night, up and down. Both teams had a lot of really good chances. I think the fans got their money's worth in that one, and UND ended up coming out with a 4-2 victory. Connor Gorder with the hat trick in that game. Not the guy you would expect to get the first hat trick of the year, a walk-on forward sophomore, but he's a skilled player, and he played a key role on last year's team, and it looks like he's going to do the same this year.
I guess he's probably the one player most fans did not expect to get the hat trick.
Yeah,
especially this early in the season.
Exactly, but you know, he's getting some power play time, which tells you that the coaches are confident in his scoring abilities, and the game-winning goal, the hat-trick goal, was on a 5-on-3 power play too. So he's getting the opportunities and he's making the most out of them. He actually could have scored 4 goals. He had another one that was disallowed. So quite the game for Mr. Gorder.
Was this a series? It's so early in the season, but can we learn anything from this series? I know it's too early to talk about the pairwise and things like that, but what can we take out of this series that these two teams showed?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing was this is the first ranked opponent that UND's played. They played Anchorage 3 times and Fairbanks once, but this was kind of the first marquee test that they had. You know, there's some good and some bad. Saturday night, they come back and they have a 1-goal lead in the third period, and they ended up losing that, giving up 3 goals in 6 minutes, and that really can't happen at home. So that was the bad. The good, they did get a point out of it. I'm sure BU tested them in certain areas, and this week the coaches definitely have things to work on as the team gets ready to head to St. Cloud, which is going to be a very good test because I think they're one of the best teams in the league.
It will be. And is it too early to talk about the pairwise?
I think it's too early to look at it. It's not too early to understand that these non-conference games are going to be huge, factor in big at the end of the year. So you know that they are going to be big. Where UND is at right now in the pairwise, if you look at it, it fluctuates way too much at this point to really get a good look.
And on to St. Cloud, I think the Huskies are maybe a surprise team that's been catching people off guard?
I think so. I picked them to finish 3rd in the league this year, and I still think that they have a chance to compete for the league title. They could be one of those teams. They got some high-end forwards. Drew LeBlanc didn't play most of last year. He had a broken leg, and he's come out on fire this year. Ben Hanowski ended up being one of the best players in the league last year, and he's playing really well this year. And I think the difference is a few years ago they had a bunch of really good top-end forwards, but they didn't have the D behind them, and that's kind of why maybe they faltered a little bit when people thought. This year they have the D. They have Nick Jensen's one of the best D-men in the league, and Andrew Prochnow played really well last year. I think they're just an all-around a really good team.
And I know we talked a little bit earlier about college hockey weekends in general, and I think you posted a stat that's pretty impressive that what UND is at St. Cloud on Friday night and what UND is at St. Cloud on Saturday night the last 10 years.
The last 10 years, they're 0-6-4 on Friday night. They have not won a Friday night game. They're 10-0 on Saturday night. And I know Verge Foss, the longtime hockey beat writer, his theory is that the home teams come out really fired up on Friday night in front of the home crowd. They have the fuel. That's why they win. Then the next day, the visiting teams are stewing in the hotel room all day and looking forward to playing again. So that maybe there is something to that theory when you look at what UND's done in St. Cloud the last 10 years.
Well, you can look at it what happens last weekend, too. I mean, UND was electric on Friday night, and a lot of fans were really, really impressed with what happened. Maybe a little bit of a letdown on Saturday.
Yep, exactly. And BU probably played a little better Saturday night than they did Friday. UND had BU on the ropes on Saturday. So,
and talk about the National Hockey Center. It's place that's a tough place to win. Most places are in the WCHA, but this has had its moments for a lot of teams.
Yeah, when St. Cloud is going really well, I had a former player tell me that was the loudest building, opposing building that they had to play in when things are going well. Their attendance can drop quite a bit when they're not playing well. When they are playing well, this is going to be a very good year for St. Cloud. So this is a possibility for the National Hockey Center to get really fired up. So
it's going to be an entertaining weekend, no doubt. It's a big weekend for UND hockey, and it won't be a big weekend for UND football.
No, UND football's off this weekend. Last weekend, though, they got back to the 500 mark. Big win against Southern Utah, a team we've seen before. Was there any difference between this year, last year? What did you see?
Well, I think this year at UND I think Chris Mussman, the coach for UND, has pretty much said it. After the press conference, it's been a roller coaster season, and each game is a roller coaster, right? And Saturday was no different. UND dug itself a 15-0 hole, and Greg Harden, I think, is becoming one of the best players in the Big Sky Conference. He returned a kickoff 98 yards. It jump-started UND, and they got back into the game. And eventually, they kind of did what they usually do. They ran the ball well, picked up some key first downs in the second half, scored. And the defense came up with a big stop at the end of the game. And I think that was the turning point, Harden's touchdown run. Now they're back at 3-4 in the league and 5-5 overall, and have a chance to take a 6-5 season with a win out at Northern Colorado. And I think we were talking about earlier at the beginning of the year, if UND goes 6-5, 4-4 in the Big Sky first year, I think it's a success.
Yeah, they had to play a pretty difficult schedule among the Big Sky opponents, so they definitely weren't easing into the Big Sky. They kind of jumped right into the fire
and the Big Sky teams they've lost to, Eastern Washington, Montana State, Cal Poly, Northern Arizona, probably all four going to the playoffs, although it might be tough for the league to get 4 in, but 3 for certain. And the other loss was to San Diego State, which, by the way, beat Boise State on the road Saturday night, and UND had a chance to win that game in San Diego. So it's been a roller coaster year, and it's wrapping up soon. And I tell you, it's going to be another exciting weekend for UND athletics, with you going to be in St. Cloud, and of course, in basketball starting this week. Men's basketball will be at Kansas State. Tom Miller from the Herald will be in Manhattan to cover that game. So a lot of things going on. And Brad, one final thought on hockey?
Yeah, we'll be in St. Cloud this weekend too, and it should be an interesting series. The women's hockey team is off this weekend, so men's hockey basketball season rolling around, and it'll be it's just kind of getting into the busy season.
And the women's season opens up Sunday at home against Harvard. So that'll do it for this week for the UND Sports Zone, and we'll be back next week, and see you then.